So,
Oh, hi, Mike.
Well, hello.
Oh, it's filmed.
Oh, I know. Just had to finish eating before I got here.
That chicken out my teeth.
On camera eating.
Make sure I've got no coffee spills on me.
Yeah.
can you guys compare what it was like making The Defenders versus your individual shows in terms of maybe like the behind the scenes of the scripts being ready? You know, like, is it a very similar production process, or because it was only 8 episodes, was it a little different?
I think they had every episode written before we went into shooting, but I don't know much about that side of things. But in terms of like as actors working on the show, it was really nice sharing the load with other actors, because it gave you more time to say do stunt choreography or rest.
It's a novel idea. It's unheard of. Rest.
But it's great when you do your individual shows. You'll go. Like you were filming until 6 a.m. on Friday.
Yeah, 6 a.m. Friday, and then
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah,
6 a.m. then you came straight to the airport. Like it's very intense schedules. So, but when we worked together on Defenders, it just gave the thing time to breathe, which I think only really helped.
And you come back to the show with
Energy.
energy, you know, because your scenes are more energy, more like, you know, you're there for a full day, 14 hours a day. You know, it's intense because you got to focus and stuff like that, the scene and stuff. So we really like to have energy, and that was something that was afforded to us because we were able to share the load.
It was a luxury. Yeah. It was nice.
Mike, is there going to be like kind of romantic tension for your character? Because I'm just thinking
Me
about
and
like
Fist.
more like, you know, he was hanging out. He was with Jessica, and now he's hanging out with Claire, and then Claire was hanging out with Daredevil, so it's just kind of like.
And then
this
him and
weird,
Danny in the bathroom together.
Let's just clarify something. That Daredevil thing, that didn't happen on screen. So how do we know? Did you see it? No.
Okay.
Exactly. No. So honestly, it's one of those. It's an adult situation. I mean, I'm sure everybody at this table has been in a room with people they've slept with, and it's more than one, right? Everybody's been in a room with 3 or 4 people.
We had a big orgy before you got here.
Go back. Everyone's been in a room with 3 or 4 people they've slept with.
There was a certain odor over here.
Okay. Everyone's done that.
What? No? Okay,
That's
sorry.
hilarious, man.
Strike that from the record.
That's off the
Too
record.
late. We're on
Too late. But honestly, it's one of those adult things, and you know, Luke it's no malicious intent. He's drifting because he's heartbroken, and so he's looking for love, and you know.
Oh, that old excuse. That old chestnut.
It just happens. And,
Oh, sorry, I cheated on you. My heart. It's
He
just.
didn't cheat. He wasn't in a committed relationship with any one of these women, and they just took advantage of him. Really?
Oh, okay.
I mean, think about it. Every scene. It was like he was sort of like man meat. I mean, it just happened.
He was just like sad, and they were like, oh,
Yeah, they just started all of a sudden they're on top of him. I mean, honestly, it was like, what happened? So
Poor Luke.
Poor Luke. Poor Luke and his man meat.
Listen, easier, you know, until you walk in these shoes, man. Until you walk in these shoes.
What makes Alexandra the most dangerous of all the villains that you guys have faced before?
A resume.
I think it's because she really believes in what she's doing, and actually it's quite sensible when you think about it. Like it's not like an evil plan. It actually kind of makes sense, especially from Danny's perspective. She knows how to prey on the individual's weaknesses, and with Danny, she knows he's vulnerable. She knows that above everything else, like he needs friends, and she knows how to like tap into that, and I think that makes her incredibly dangerous because she fucks around with this and not necessarily this.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Just,
One of the things that's really cool about the show is we finally get to see these heroes that we've been waiting to see finally together. So talk a little bit about maybe the first day you guys are all filming as a group, you know, all 4 of you fighting and doing stuff together.
So that would have been the hallway scene, right?
I don't know. It's all a blur to me. I don't think that was.
No, that was. It must have been the first time.
It's a hallway scene.
Yeah, it was.
Was that the first time we were?
Yeah, but we were all together.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, maybe you're right.
It was. It definitely was.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
It was cool.
It was cool. I mean, because for us as actors, we know each other quite well by now. But as characters, though, that's the interesting part. It's always like in that first on-screen kiss, that first on-screen moment, that first, you know, it's like, who is this person? And I think it sort of worked out pretty organically.
I think it was helpful because it was a fight scene that it was already very well choreographed. So we already knew the kind of groundwork of what we were getting ourselves into. So we didn't have to. Half the job was already done. And I think that kind of helped. But you know, we got on well anyway. It was all kind of natural. The whole thing was very natural. That's all. You know, it never felt like we were forcing a kind of chemistry on screen. It was always just there.
Yeah, we weren't. It would be different if one of us had a show and then all of us sort of climbed onto that show and then eventually started to from one season to the next. You added a character eventually, I think that may be different. I
I
mean,
think you got to the crux of it. I think that's what it is. It's because we've all carried our own individual shows. We all understand the playing ground in which we're going on to. And so when we did all meet up for the first time, there was a level of respect because we all knew what it
and
takes.
no one was vying for, we just wanted to like.
No. If anything, it was like, oh, please. Do the extra work. Let me have a day off.
I think a few times the lines would come up and go, you know what, you can have that
take that line. Yeah,
I think that
I'm
line
just not saying
comes better out of
something
his
for a while.
mouth because it's just
Yeah, it was nice.
You guys throw down early on in the series. You guys fight each other. How was that experience?
Cold.
Yeah, it was
cold.
cold. It was a good exchange. I mean, I think we've only seen a taste of it on the trailer, but it's a pretty cool exchange from our characters and.
What I liked about the choreography as well is how Matt Mullins, the stunt choreographer, really played on our individual strengths. So like Luke is like brute, and so Danny's like punching. He's like, I can't get through to this guy. What do I do? And then so Danny's like super nimble.
Yeah,
they
it's
play
hard
off
to
each
it's
other
hard to
really well.
it's hard to get the hands on him because
Yeah,
he's so
so
quick,
I know how to like duck around you.
And I don't know about his fist. It's kind of it's this weird thing. It's like the secret weapon.
Did you land any punches? It looked like you guys were.
I kicked him a couple times.
Listen, I always say about the fist. When you use the fist, you got to take a nap. It drains your.
I'm good. I'm getting better.
Yeah, it's
I'm getting better. I'm learning
You're
how to
getting better to harness it.
to harness it a little bit better.
Yeah. Recharge the battery.
Aside from like the basics of like your actual powers, what do you hope that people know about each of your characters going into Defenders that they're not like super familiar? Like what's like the most important things to know?
I guess our origins. I think every time you look at our characters, if you can kind of sort of, if you can watch only one episode of any of the shows, I think if you go back to the origin stories for all the characters, it sort of gives you a hook for the series. If you can't catch up, if you just start to see Defenders for the first time, you're going, can I watch it without seeing the other shows? Sure, you can. We don't advise it because not only do we want you to see those shows, we want you to know more and be more invested into the characters. But if I had to say, if you're going to try to find a quick way, a little shortcut, quick notes way into the series, check out each show's origin stories. I think everybody kind of has one episode that kind of sort of helps you to kind of see who this person is, and that will help you to then go into this.
I think the thing that I want people to know about Danny moving into Defenders is that he's not a stereotype. Just because he is a billionaire, just because he is an orphan, just because he learns martial arts, that doesn't make him a stereotype superhero. There's actually a lot of layers and a lot of nuances to him. And I just think I hope people can appreciate actually the levels to the character and not just see him on a very basic level.
What did you take from the sort of controversy around the first season of Iron Fist, like going into maybe the Defenders? And
Well, I was shooting it. I went from shooting Iron Fist straight to Defenders, so I was really just concentrating on the work, and I didn't really allow myself to really get too caught up in that because I was so on the path of creating Danny's journey in the Defenders.
But so have you taken anything from it since then? Have you like?
How so? What do you mean?
Well, like reading feedback or reading what people
I don't
say.
read feedback. I just allow. I bring the character to life as best as I can with the scripts. And so far, since the show's come out and people have seen all 13 episodes, honestly, I've received nothing but love and support for the character in the show. I think people really understand where the character's coming from, and I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful that Marvel fans can see through all of the noise and can really try and appreciate what we tried to bring to life.
Mike, you're in Luke Cage, well actually Jessica Jones, you had a relationship with Jessica, your character had a relationship with Jessica Jones, and now he's over there, and now he's working with his ex-girlfriend, Jessica Jones. Is there any going to be trouble between the two relationships, especially since in the comics, he marries?
Well, I think it's a long burn for everything, and this is a long-form series, and everything that happens will take time. I think, if the creators are trying to stay true to the comic books, maybe we will end up where all the fans know they sort of end up in Alias and how that kind of develops. But we can't get there too fast. I mean, we have a story that we're trying to tell, and we have multiple seasons we'd like to tell that story in, and so hopefully everything does come full circle. But right now, him and Claire are pretty tight. We're having a good time, and we still have to have coffee together. So I think we got a lot going on. But I think he still has a sort of a flame thing that burns for Jessica. There's something that's a chemistry there, and that's life, Maybe it's just the wrong time, and maybe we will sort of find a way to make it work out. But right now, it's not a good time. She's got some things she needs to do. She's got some healing she needs to do, and Luke's got some things he needs to work out for himself. So we'll see.
When you talk about going straight from the filming of one show to another, essentially you've all come to this from programs that have their own distinct rhythm. When you arrive, what is the merged rhythm of this that's different from the individual rhythms of the.
Well, it takes place over a very short amount of time. It's only 8 episodes, and I think it takes place over maybe, let's say, just over 48 hours or like a week. So there's a real frenetic, must kind of, defeat the threat energy to it. But then also, it's fun. It's a celebration. It's a celebration of these characters coming together, and it's fun.
I'm curious though, with you filming the second season, after Defenders, you now all know each other. And there's that element of you run into a problem, there's these superpowered people that live down the street.
But we didn't exchange numbers.
See,
That was the problem.
That's a huge spoiler, by
it's
the way.
So, I know. Listen, whoops, sorry, but it's true. I mean, it's like how it is. It's like,
But it's possible now. You're right. It's possible.
But how does it go into with the writing? Like with the season 2, is there an element of like you acknowledge a little bit like you could call someone, but I'm going to do it myself?
Well, that's a scene that we have to see whether it plays out that way. But these universes are sort of connected, and will we see any of these people in other seasons? Maybe. You never know. I mean, but the truth of it is that we do know the other person exists, but it's one of they have their own issues. Remember, simultaneously, these episodes, these seasons happen very short span of time. Sometimes it's 5 days, sometimes it's like 2 weeks. Maybe Danny's got his own thing going on. Maybe he's fighting his own battle, and it's simultaneously. Or maybe there's something that we don't know how Defenders is going to end, so we don't know that we have the liberty to still reach out. Just because we team up doesn't mean we walk away on good terms. So again, you can call, doesn't mean I'm going to answer. I might say new phone, who it is?
Thank you.
All right, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.